Totally wrong facts. Everyone still believes. Let's get right into it. Number 15. Goldfish memory myth. Picture this. You're staring at a goldfish, and you're convinced it's basically living in a perpetual 3-second reboot cycle. Like a tiny aquatic Windows 95 just endlessly crashing. Except, no. Goldfish actually remember things for months. Months. Meanwhile, you can barely remember where you put your keys 10 minutes ago, but sure, blame the fish. Scientists have trained goldfish to navigate mazes, recognize sounds, and even anticipate feeding schedules. Which means if your goldfish could talk, it would absolutely roast you for every time you tap the glass like an impatient toddler. This myth survived because people assume small brain equals small capacity. But that's not really how memory works. It's more about neural connections, not brain size. Goldfish have plenty of those. They're just quiet little geniuses minding their business while humans embarrass themselves spreading misinformation. So next time you think your goldfish forgot, remember, it didn't forget. It's just ignoring you. Honestly, relatable. Number 14. Humans only use 10% of their brains. Ah, yes, the classic humans only use 10% of their brains. The pseudo-scientific equivalent of saying your car only uses one tire. The reality? Your brain is a needy, high-maintenance energy parasite that refuses to turn off unless you force it with sleep. Even when you're scrolling aimlessly at 2 a.m., doing nothing productive, your brain is lighting up like a discount Christmas tree. Modern brain imaging shows that even simple tasks activate multiple regions at once. Walking, thinking, trying to remember what you walked into the room for? All of that uses way more than 10%. The myth stuck around because people love the idea of hidden potential, as if one day you'll unlock a new brain DLC and suddenly become a super genius. Spoiler, you're already using 100%. You're just using it to obsess over imaginary arguments or replay embarrassing moments from 5 years ago. Number 13. Cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. You've probably heard this from a parent who said it with the same energy as a threat from the government. Stop cracking your knuckles or you'll get arthritis. And you believed it. Because, child, you thought adults had access to secret medical knowledge. They didn't. Knuckle cracking is just gas bubbles in your joints popping. That's it. A tiny bubble homicide. Study after study has shown no link to arthritis. One doctor even cracked the knuckles on only one hand for decades just to prove it. And yes, the hands aged the same. The only real consequence is annoying the people around you, which honestly is half the fun. So you can crack away guilt-free. Your joints won't crumble, but your friendships might. Number 12. The Great Wall of China is visible from space. Imagine astronauts floating above Earth, pointing down, going, "Look, the only human-made structure visible from space. That one super wiggly wall." Except that's not how any of this works. The Great Wall is long, sure, but it's also about the same color as the land around it and only a few meters wide. From space, it blends in like a shy kid at a school dance. Astronauts have repeatedly said they can't see it unaided. They can see cities, airports, and big road networks because those contrast with their surroundings. The Great Wall? Not so much. The myth stuck because it sounds cool, and humans love exaggeration, especially when it involves something ancient, massive, and impressive. It's still iconic, just not visible from space iconic, more like visible on postcards iconic. Number 11. Sugar makes kids hyper. If you've ever seen a group of kids at a birthday party, you might think sugar transforms children into tiny, bouncing tornadoes of chaos. But plot twist. Science says the sugar isn't the culprit. The party is. Kids get hyper because they're excited, overstimulated, and surrounded by cake, balloons, noise, and the existential thrill of temporarily being the center of the universe. Multiple studies have shown zero link between sugar intake and hyperactivity. None. What does happen is that adults expect kids to act wild after sugar, so they notice normal kid behavior and go, "Aha! The glucose goblins got them." It's a self-fulfilling prophecy powered by parental panic and frosting. Your kid isn't sugar high. They're just a tiny human with too many emotions and no off switch. So the next time a child is sprinting in circles screaming, remember, it wasn't the cupcake, it's their personality. Good luck. Number 10. Hair and nails keep growing after death. This one sounds spooky and poetic, like your body is trying to stay stylish even after it checks out. But nope. Hair and nails don't keep growing after death. Your skin just shrinks as it dries, making them look longer. That's right. The illusion of life comes from your body dehydrating like a raisin. The myth hangs on because people love a creepy detail that makes the world feel more dramatic. But biologically, once you're dead, everything stops. No cell division, no growth, no last-minute manicure. The only thing that keeps happening is decomposition, which is honestly the opposite of glow-up energy. So if you ever thought corpses were out there getting posthumous haircuts, sorry. They're not growing anything except bacteria. Number 9. Bats are blind. You've probably heard the phrase blind as a bat, which is ironic because bats actually see just fine. Some species see really well, especially at night. They use echolocation not because they're blind, but because it's the bat equivalent of having night vision goggles plus a built-in sonar system. Basically, they're Batman with biological DLC. The myth survives because echolocation seems like something only a blind animal would need. But in reality, bats evolved it as an extra tool, like your brain giving you notifications you never asked for. They can see shapes, light, objects, and movement. Echolocation just helps them swoop around catching insects with surgical precision while looking effortlessly cool. So no, bats aren't blind. They just have more features enabled than the rest of us. Number 8. Sharks don't get cancer. For years, people believed sharks were basically immortal superhero fish. They don't get cancer, people said, while buying shark cartilage pills that did absolutely nothing except waste money and kill sharks. But guess what? Sharks do get cancer. There are documented cases. They're just really good at healing and have strong immune systems. The myth spread because one scientist in the 1970s made a wrong assumption, and the supplement industry ran with it like a toddler with scissors. It became the perfect marketing line. Sharks don't get cancer, so if you eat shark, maybe you won't either. Spoiler, that's not how biology works. At all. Turns out sharks are cool enough without the fake hype. They don't need immortality. They already look like they were designed by a metal band's album artist. Number 7. Vikings wore horned helmets. Imagine a towering Viking warrior, wind blowing through his beard, wearing a helmet that looks like he stole it from an angry cow. That image is everywhere. Movies, cartoons, Halloween costumes. But historically, zero evidence. No horns. Not even baby horns. The only people who gave Vikings horned helmets were 19th century opera costume designers who apparently looked at history and said, needs more cow. Real Viking helmets were practical, metal, and horn-free because horns are terrible in battle. They get caught on everything and basically turn your head into a medieval coat rack. But the myth survives because it looks dramatic. Humans love drama, even if it means turning fierce warriors into walking livestock accessories. So yes, the Vikings were terrifying, but not because of their headgear. That part is pure cosplay. Number 6. The 5-second rule works. You drop a cookie. You panic. You scoop it off the floor while yelling, 5-second rule, as if you've just cast a hygiene spell. But bacteria don't use stopwatches. They don't stand around going, oh no, we can't get on that sandwich yet, it hasn't been 5 seconds. The moment food hits the floor, bacteria transfer instantly, like clingy little microorganisms who just want to be part of your lunch. Now, does that mean everything you drop becomes a biohazard? Not exactly. The real issue is what it landed on. Tile? Better than carpet. A floor at a music festival? You're playing immune system roulette. But the 5-second rule itself is pure human wishful thinking, the dietary version of saying, I meant to do that. If you really like living dangerously, go ahead. But don't pretend the clock is protecting you. It isn't. Number 5. Bulls hate the color red. You've seen the cartoons. The bull sees red, steam shoots out of its nose, and suddenly you've got a bovine missile charging at a man in tight pants. But bulls don't care about red. At all. They're colorblind to it. What actually sets them off is movement. It could be a red cape, a blue towel, or a neon green bedsheet. If it's waving around like it owes them money, they'll charge. The whole red rage myth became popular thanks to bullfighting, where the cape is red for dramatic flair and, let's be honest, to hide blood. The bull isn't thinking, I hate this color. It's thinking, why is that weird cloth flapping in my face? Which is fair. You'd probably charge too. So next time you're near a bull, don't worry about wearing red. Worry about doing anything that looks like interpretive dance. Number 4. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. This one sounds comforting, like the universe is keeping track of electrical violence and politely spreading it around. But lightning is not a people pleaser. It's a giant, chaotic plasma tantrum that absolutely loves hitting the same spot over and over. Skyscrapers, mountains, tall trees, your unlucky golf club. If it's high and conductive, lightning will treat it like a frequent flyer lounge. The Empire State Building gets struck around 100 times per year. Not in a lifetime, not in a century, per year. Lightning doesn't think, I've already been there. Let me try somewhere new. No, it thinks, tall thing, zap again. The myth sticks around because people like to turn random danger into comforting rules, even if the rules are totally fake. So if you're ever caught in a storm, don't stand next to the tallest object thinking, it's already been hit, I'm safe. You're not. Move. Quickly. Number 3. You swallow 8 spiders a year. Congratulations. You've fallen for the internet's favorite horror fairy tale. The 8 spiders a year myth was literally invented as an example of how easily misinformation spreads online. Yes, the fact itself was created specifically to prove humans will believe anything if it's gross enough. And we did. Think about it logically. Spiders don't want to crawl into your mouth. Your breath, your heat, your snoring, all massive spider turnoffs. If a spider sneaks near your face, you'd probably twitch or snort or inhale sharply and send it flying. Your mouth is basically a windy, vibrating cave that smells like toothpaste and bad decisions. Not exactly prime spider real estate. So no, spiders aren't sneaking into your mouth at night. They're too busy being productive members of the ecosystem. Unlike some of us. Number 2, humans have only 5 senses: touch, taste, smell, sight, hearing. The Fab 5. But science says humans actually have around 20 senses, depending on how you categorize them. You've got proprioception, your sense of where your body is, equilibrioception, your sense of balance, thermoception, temperature, nociception, pain, and a bunch more your high school textbook conveniently ignored because it didn't want to overwhelm your teenage brain. Why does the 5-sense myth survive? Because it's simple, it sounds neat, and it's easy to teach to children who can barely tie their shoes. The real version is messy, complex, and reminds you that your body is basically a biological sensor array constantly yelling data at your brain like a stressed-out intern. So yes, you have more than 5 senses. You're practically a superhero, just not the cool kind. Number 1. Humans evolved from monkeys. Here's a fun mental image. A monkey wakes up one day, stretches, scratches its head, and says, "You know what? I'm tired of hanging from trees. Let's invent taxes." But that's not how evolution works. And no, humans didn't evolve from monkeys. We evolved alongside them, from a shared ancestor millions of years ago. Think of it like distant cousins who took wildly different career paths. Monkeys stuck with climbing trees, humans chose anxiety and smartphones. The shared ancestor wasn't a modern monkey either. It looked like, well, something in between. Small, fuzzy, tree-dwelling, and absolutely not thinking, one day my descendants will build Wi-Fi routers and argue online about pineapple on pizza. Evolution is a branching tree, not a straight line. Humans and monkeys are on separate branches, just waving awkwardly at each other across millions of years of biology. So the next time someone says humans evolved from monkeys, feel free to gently correct them. or not so gently, depending on how stubborn they are. Either way, you can remind them that evolution isn't a ladder. It's more like a family reunion where nobody knows who's related to whom, but everyone's arguing anyway. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.